Regularly scheduled council meeting for Thursday, February 11th, 2020. Could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Beagle?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Resnick?
Here.
Councilmember Behrman?
Here.
Councilmember Gotcho?
Present.
Councilmember Grenlin Fox? Here. Councilmember Sharp is excused. Councilmember Smiley?
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. City Manager, do we have any changes or additions to the agenda tonight?
I did not have any changes, Your Honor.
Okay, I have one. I'm going to remove new business number 2, the SAFER grant discussion, until a later date. First up, we have a presentation from the Lakes Area Youth Assistance. Come on up, the floor is yours.
Good evening. My name is Jody Gallo, and when I started working for the City of Wixom in 2000, the Assistant City Manager at the time, Frank Sheridan, had me attend LEA to represent Wixom as one of my other duties. I have stayed on board for 20 years. Since then, LEA created our annual fundraiser, Taste of the Lakes, and that is held every fall. I have served on the camp committee and currently sit on the skill building committee and also hold the secretary's seat of the board. This board is unique in that it is sponsored by resolutions of Commerce Township, City of Walled Lake Consolidated School District, City of Wixom, Village of Wolverine Lake, and the Oakland County Probate Court. By resolution, Wixom agreed to support this board in February 1986, and we are grateful for your contributions. Within your packets, you should have had our annual report, where you can find how your support to our organization is invested in the youth of our communities. I'd like to introduce Jeff Bro, one of our caseworkers, Nancy Van Leeuwen, our chairperson, and Gabe Costanzo, City Council member of Walled Lake, who are all on the layout board.
I hope you did get your packet, and I'm going to go through it a bit. I certainly won't pretend to read it to you. But Youth Assistance is an unusual organization. It's unusual in several ways. Number one, it was first started back in the 60s by the circuit court and the judges, one of whom was Gene Schnells, pardon me. Some of you may remember that name. And they were disturbed by the number of students coming to them, young people coming to them for, in those days it was called delinquency. And these minor offenses, but getting on court records and having a court record themselves. And they thought, we need to do something about this that keeps these children out of the court system, but gives them support and guidance so they can stay out. So Youth Assistance was developed. It's in all of Oakland County. It's unique to Oakland County. All the school districts have a youth assistance organization. All of them are named primarily for the schools: the Pontiac Youth Assistance, the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance, the Novi, Huron Valley, Farmington Hills, et cetera, et cetera. Ours, they got creative and said Lakes Area. Because, as always, this is the Lakes area, and the Walled Lake Schools is the base for the area we serve. But calling it the Walled Lake Youth Assistance, there was a feeling that it would exclude places like Wixom and Wolverine Lake and Commerce Township at large. So they formed this, and through the circuit court, Jeff Bro, our caseworker, is assigned, paid for, employed by the County of Oakland Circuit Court. In addition to that, we are sponsored by the municipalities that are primarily in the Walled Lake School District: Wolverine Lake, Walled Lake, Wixom, and Commerce. The other areas that end up in Walled Lake a little bit, like Farmington, we have students from Farmington, we have students from West Bloomfield, but their money goes to their local organizations. So we have the municipalities then that sponsor us, and every year, thank you very much, you generously send us a contribution to Lakes Area Youth Assistance. One of our biggest supporters, obviously, is the District of Walled Lake School District. Not only do they support us financially, but they provide us office space. We're down at the ESC building, right in the heart of the building, so we consider ourselves the heart of the district because we're in the middle of the building. Though we are not employed by the school district, we are located there. Then the third wing, of which everyone but Jeff is a part of, are the volunteers, and that's me. I came to this board, though, because I'm on the school board of the Walled Lake Schools. Jody came because she was an employee of Wixom and Lotho's many years ago. And by the way, she makes a wonderful contribution to our organization. You should be proud of what she does for us. Gabe Costanzo comes to us from the city of Walled Lake. He's a councilman there. He's new, just getting his feet wet in Lakes Area Youth Assistance. We have a representative from Wolverine, and we are seeking a representative from Commerce. So those supporting organizations help us too. Our part as volunteers, and it's covered quite a bit in your folder, is these committees. Jody mentioned skill building. We spend around $10,000 a year in what we call skill building, giving children grant or little scholarships to attend various classes. They want to participate in volleyball. They want to do pay for play in the district and play in sports. We charge in the district now for you to participate in sports. If they can't afford that, we help them out. So our skill building tries to give opportunities to students who otherwise wouldn't be able to help to manage or afford those opportunities. We also do what's called family ed and do such things as yoga in several buildings, including our preschool. I have not visited a yoga preschool class, but I bet it's quite entertaining. We also do an arts program in several of our buildings. We help support CHAMP and Dakota. If those names ring a bell, those are the two service dogs that are in the Walled Lake schools, one at Guest Elementary, the other at Walled Lake Western High School. And these dogs have become kind of an invaluable thing to the district, and I think, as a school board member on the QT, that we might be adding more. Finding it a good program. We had a kind of a tragic death not too long ago, and it's my understanding that one of the service dogs went to that service and provided assistance. It was a young student, I believe, who tragically died, and just the dog's presence provided some assistance and care to these young children. So we do as many things as we can to support what's going on in the district, to provide activities. We had a pretty big event at the Wixom Meyer. They sponsor and provide. We bring the children there. They work with our police officers, our EMS and so forth. Shop with a Hero is the program, and quite a few of those students coming right from Wixom, as a matter of fact. We also had a West Bloomfield police officer who was so interested in it that we also serviced some West Bloomfield students, or students from Walled Lake, but residents of West Bloomfield at the Wixom Meyer. So that was kind of exciting for us too. So through all of these activities and our fundraiser, as Jody mentioned, our Taste of the Lakes, we're able to provide a bunch of opportunities for people. And we mostly ask to be here to let you become familiar with our organization. It is a unique organization that, as I said, has the 3-tier support and the 3-tier system. Jeff is our caseworker hired by the county, and I didn't know if you wanted to share a few little statistics with them. And we'll ask, receive questions if you have them after he finishes.
Again, my name is Jeff Bruff, and thanks again for letting us come speak with you guys, and thank you for all the years of your continued contribution to our organization. We really appreciate it. I've only been in Walled Lake School District for a few months. I was in Hazel Park for my first placement, and then moved to Lakes area in September of this past year, so I've only been here a few months trying to get to know the organization a little bit more, because obviously it's different everywhere. So the statistics I have, just real briefly, are specifically in regards to the Wixom kids that we have serviced. So for the caseload services that I have, which is myself, which is full-time, I am at that building 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I also have a coworker there that's there 2 days a week for 8 hours a day. So we're there 7 days a week, when some areas in Oakland County don't even get a full-time worker. So we're really advantaged to have that many days to work with the kids here in the Lakes area. So we had 7 kids that we serviced through caseload specifically that were from Wixom. Skill building, we had 16 kids that came for skill building funds for programs that we previously talked about. For Adopt a Child, that's the program where families can, come in and ask for assistance for kind of Christmas help, Christmas assistance. And we serviced 11 kids through that program. Shop with a Hero, which we just briefly talked about, was 15 kids. In regards to yoga, which again Nancy had brought up, we had 6 sessions in the various schools. And the schools that we were in were the Sarah Banks Middle School, Loon Elementary, Wixom Elementary, and Walled Lake Elementary, which I know Wixom kids attend all of those schools. And then the art therapy, we had 8 sessions within Wixom Elementary. So those are some of the statistics that I have for you, and the amount of kids that we are reaching out to, and what your money is going towards in regards to the kids here within Wixom. So I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the casework services 100% that Youth Assistance offers, but the easiest way to say it is I try to help kids that need help, to put it real easily and simply. If there are kids that are having a hard time with school or at home or in the community, they can come to me and I can try to investigate to see how I can help them out, whether it's using me and my services or if I refer them out to other appropriate areas that deal with things a lot better than I do. A lot of the kids that we do end up getting are kids that are having trouble in school, either academically, behaviorally, or in regards to their truant behavior. We get kids from the police when they get in trouble with the law. Instead of going to the court, they'll come to us for a diversion type of agreement and work with them to do those type of behaviors. Parents can also bring their kids in if they're having a hard time with their kids at home or at school or whatever it may be. They can come check with me and I can try to help them out to figure out what it is that they need or provide them the appropriate resource for that. One of the things that I hear, not just within Walled Lake School District, but in regards to all of Oakland County, that youth assistance is used for the bad kids, right? The kids that are at risk or things like that. That is not true and that's not accurate. I am here to help out kids, whoever the need, whatever the service, whatever the concern may be. I'm not here just to deal specifically with the at-risk kids that are potentially getting in trouble or getting in trouble. Yes, that was the initial thought process when youth assistance was born along those years ago, but we've evolved from there. We understand that kids who are getting in trouble are not the only kids that need assistance. We want to hit those kids before they start even getting in trouble in the first place that could possibly end up in the court system. So no, we don't deal with just at-risk kids. We want to help out everyone that needs the assistance and needs the help. The usual length of my program is typically 3 to 6 months. I try to be a short-term type program. If they need something that's more long-term, that's when I refer them to a resource that I think would better suit them for more of a long-term need. The ages, I deal with kids from 0 from birth until 16 years old. Once they hit 17, as of right now, they become an adult, and then youth assistance then drops off at that point. I deal within the boundaries of the Walled Lake School District. So I deal with the kids and the families that reside in the Walled Lake School District. So if they live in West Bloomfield in the Walled Lake School District but go to the West Bloomfield schools, I would still deal with those kids because they reside within the school district. So there's all of that. We've already talked about the trying sponsorship. I'm trying to remember everything that I was planning to say as well. Everything that we talk about is confidential in my office. I let the parents and the kids know that from the moment they walk in. I don't speak about their business to anyone. It is a voluntary program, though some of the diversion things that I previously spoke of in regards to either the school or the police, I let them know that if they do decide they don't want to participate with the program, I'll send it back to either the police officer or the superintendent or the principal and say they didn't cooperate with the program, and then they can proceed from there how they see fit. So that's kind of the majority of how my program works and how the casework services work specifically. I don't know if you guys have any questions about the casework or what it is, other things that I do. Feel free.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you very
Sure.
much. I noticed in our brief that in 2019 you had 128 new cases.
Correct.
Has that been growing over the years?
The year before this, in 2018, I think it was 115. So we've grown smallly. So we've had some concerns with the casework, to be completely honest with you. A few years previously, we had a caseworker who had some personal things that were going on, and she couldn't commit her full-time to the casework services, which brought casework services back a little bit. We only had a part-time worker there who was there 2.5 days, I believe. So she wasn't there to do the full time, like we have the 7 days now. She obviously didn't have the time to do those full 7 days, let alone work with the board in regards to the programs that we were doing. So to be quite honest, the casework has been a little lacking the few years previously. I plan from here on out, now that we have the caseworkers here and implement the things that we need to be doing, I'm hoping to move that back number to what we used to get, which was in the 300s even. We used to have upwards of the high 200s to 300s of kids, and I do plan, once I get my name out there a little bit and let the schools know and the police know who I am, to try to work with them to get more kids in to help more people out.
And the second thing I noticed was 61 of those 128 were under a category called prevention.
Correct.
What types of it?
Prevention is, to be honest, kind of like our catch-all. So I can get a kid for, give you an example, I guess, being antisocial in school. So they have a bunch of friends and they're very social at first, talking with their kids, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're being very antisocial. And they're kind of solid, being isolating themselves, whether it's at school or at home or any of the above. And so a teacher could send it to me and say, hey, I've noticed some behavior changes in this child. I want you to please check it out if you can to see what's going on and maybe provide some resources. So that's not a home incorrigibility or school incorrigibility or school truancy or anything like that. So we put it under a prevention term to prevent the kids' behaviors from escalating to doing something worse later down in their life, hopefully. Grades dropping is another example. Loss of a family member is another example, things like that.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
What?
You may have just answered this question for me, because you'd said that it's not just for bad kids
Sure.
or at-risk kids, and I was hoping to get a couple examples of those kinds of services. You just said antisocial, all of a sudden to help them or with bad
Sure.
grades. Is that an example of, or could you even give a couple
Sure.
more of the?
A lot of the things recently is mental health. As we know, mental health has become a big concern, not with just adults, but with juveniles as well. So I do get a lot of things for mental health, though I'm no expert in mental health, but I can help the families get to the appropriate resources and have the resources in case something does happen at home or at school, so that they know how to handle the situation if something were to come up. So that's another example of things that I do. I mentioned grief earlier too, so whether that's a grandparent, aunt, uncle, parent, sibling, best friend, I can help them with that, provide resources, talk with them about it. Anxiety, depression, kind of the same thing as mental health, I guess, but again, provide the resources, have a conversation, see if there's anything else underlying. There are times kids start to act up, and it's from, maybe it's in a parent that's on drugs or alcohol. So I try to help that kid to, I guess, figure out what that situation's like, or provide a resource for them to get them in the right situation, in the right state of mind.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
First of all, thank you for everything you do, everyone. It's a great organization. My question is, do you have any idea how many of the cases that you have to refer out
To say like a counseling or a therapist, or just in general?
in general?
Okay. A lot of the things that I do, I like to pull in other agencies for either one, assistance, or two, because I can't, because it's the short term, they need something more long term. If I had to put an exact percentage or number on it, I would want to say, I don't know, maybe 60-70%. And that would sometimes either be the long term here, you need more long term therapy, family therapy, individual counseling, or it could be in conjunction with, like, I think this program will work well for you, and let me hook it up for you, and then we can work together as a team or as a group to move you forward. So I'd say 60 to 70, whether that's with me or without me, just depends on the case. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Any other questions? About the programs or anything like that? All set?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Excuse me, thank you. Thank you for showing up, and thanks for your work that you do for our community. Before we go any further, Madam Clerk, do we have to make a motion to approve the amended agenda since we, okay, thanks. All right, next up is the approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes tonight, one for the special city council meeting of January 28th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? All right, I've got a motion and a support. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the second set of minutes is the regular city council meeting of January 28th, 2020. Do I have a motion? So moved. Any questions? All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no correspondence. We're up to the first call of the public. The rules for the call of the public are: the public shall address the council during the call to the public, which shall be included on the agenda immediately after correspondence and again after new business. The first call to the public immediately after correspondence shall be limited to agenda items only. A person shall not address the council in excess of 5 minutes unless the time is extended by a majority vote of council present. All persons wishing to address the council shall identify themselves and their place of residence and shall state their reason for addressing the council. And all comments by the public shall be made directly to the council. Do I have anybody for the first call of the public? Seeing none, I'll close that. City Manager's Report. First report is the Fire Monthly Report of December 12th, 2019. Okay. Second one is the Police Monthly Report of December 2019. Deputy Mayor Resnick.
I just wanted to commend Ron and the police department for the recent string of the Porch Pirates and the very quick work that you and the force did in apprehending the perpetrators and recovering property as well. One of the things I thought about today when I was looking on our website, it'd be great if you could put out some sort of hints to homeowners, especially in the wintertime. And my daughter was one of the victims, so I can talk about it and embarrass her a little bit. But
Right.
you know, shovel your walk if you're not going to be home for 2 or 3 days. That was one of the first clues that nobody was home, right?
Sure.
Along with packages piling up on the front door. But it might be a good idea to just publish some hints and.
Sure. Thank you for the kind comments. We definitely got some investigative breaks there. Social media was great, getting the videos out there. The Ring doorbell footage it's so easy to share it on via email or via social media. And our detectives were able to put out an investigative bulletin to the area departments, and within hours, the Novi Police Department had him in custody. So it was good police work on both agencies, but thank you for the comments.
When was this?
I'm sorry?
When was this?
This occurred last week, Wednesday or Thursday.
I missed it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case in which event the items will be removed from the consent agenda and added to the regular agenda at the end of unfinished and new business. Do I have a motion?
Support.
All right, I have a motion and a support. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no unfinished business. We have one item under new business is consideration of the mayoral appointment of Richard Ziegler to the Tax Abatement Review Committee with a term to expire December 31st, 2022. A motion?
So moved. Support.
Thank you. Mayor Ziegler was on the Tax Abatement Review Committee for a number of years, and when his term as mayor expired, so did his term on this board. So I talked to him, and he'd still like to continue doing that, and I appreciate that. And so he submitted the application, and I'm happy for that. So any questions? All right, I got a motion and a support to approve the recommendation, mayoral appointment of Richard Ziegler to the Tax Abatement Review Committee with a term to expire December 31st, 2022. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second call to the public. Same rules as the first call to the public, with the exception if you can talk about whatever's on your mind. Do you anybody who wants to approach for the second call to the public? Seeing none, I'll close that. City manager comments?
Your Honor, just a couple things that were listed in the city manager's update. I can talk about one in particular just related to the absentee ballots that were sent out for the presidential primary. They have begun mailing those ballots out to voters. The ballots are in a redesigned envelope, and because of that, we're posting pictures of that envelope on our Facebook page, in our e-notifications, and on our website to inform voters of what to look for in the mail so that we can make sure people can see that coming, so to speak. And that's really the only thing that I was going to highlight out of the things that I had in the city manager update. If there's anything else I can assist with, please let me know. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Council comments. Councilmember Smiley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's see here. Thank you to Leah for their presentation and for all that they do to the city, for the city. Thank you, former Mayor Ziegler, for his continued service to the city. And that's all I had. Sorry. Our kids are out next week for midwinter break. Keep an eye out for them. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Berman.
My only comments are thank you for the staff that put together the daddy-daughter dance. Both my daughters had an excellent time there. And Mr. Moore is the best dancer. If we had a dance award that went to the best dad dancer there, he was out on the floor doing all the moves. I was in awe of his dance expertise.
Thank you.
Don't encourage it.
Councilmember Gatchel.
Thank you. Also wanted to share my thanks to former Mayor Ziegler for still being a member of the Tax Abatement Review Committee. I also saw a note in there about Sandra Messing resigning from the library board, and I wanted to thank her for her many years of service on the library board. Also, a few more topics, I guess. One was the news with Lyon Township preliminarily approving the Amazon Logistics Center. They're still up for special land use here in 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And that, to me, causes a little bit of heartache for a Wixom perspective because it is nearly right on the border of our city. I can imagine most of the semi-traffic is probably going to be coming off of the Wixom Road exit, causing more traffic issues and road issues for our city without any of the tax benefit to go along with it. One of the other things that I've noticed, though, with the logistics centers, we're going to have the semi-traffic, we're going to have their delivery van traffic, but they have a logistics center in Livonia, and I've noticed sitting in one of my offices in Livonia, I've actually seen Amazon employees roll up in their personal vehicles, like the small car size of a Camry, jam-packed full of boxes, to the point that they can't safely see out of any of the windows except for the windshield, and just leave it open as they go make deliveries. So to me, I don't think that we should be inviting that kind of behavior. Amazon's a giant company. They have their delivery vans, and I think maybe as a city we should communicate to Lyon Township, or as a council send a nice letter or something asking them to consider some rules to mitigate all of the impact this is going to have on Wixom and Wixom's roads and traffic and residents, and potentially unsafe driving if they are going to be sending out personal use vehicles jam-packed full of boxes to people that weren't really hired as delivery drivers. So that is something I think we should keep an eye on and maybe communicate to Lyon Township to think about their neighbors as well. I know we've been down that road with Milford Township about antenna towers that went up. So it might fall on deaf ears, but I hope there would be some plan for mitigating all the impact we're going to see without any of the tax revenue to go with it, which goes strictly to them. So I'm not sure if that is shared at all with other council members, but I think just something to keep an eye on. And then one other thing that kind of struck me, I guess I saw a news segment a few days ago talking about paid time off for miscarriages. And so I'm not sure if we have a policy strictly for miscarriages in the city of Wixom. They're talking about paid time off up to 8 weeks in that news segment for some of the companies, but I think now that we're starting to discuss budgeting for the next fiscal year, that's something that I might like to discuss more, see a plan come forward on that front. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilmember Granlund Fox.
I have nothing additional to add, thank you.
All right. Deputy Mayor Resnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also share Councilman Gottschall's disappointment. When I read the news this morning, my heart sunk a little bit. Knowing that it's a last mile facility versus a warehousing, that means there's going to be a lot of people working there and a lot of traffic. But I was thinking, boy, that tax revenue would have been great in our little 182-acre vacant spot there. But I do realize the building that they are going into was an existing building too versus a greenfield build, but disappointing nonetheless. I also want to thank Leah for their services to our entire school district, and I hope they keep going strong and get more caseworkers that can help them out on that. That's some great work that they're doing. And other than that, everybody have a good winter break from the school district.
Yeah. All right, thanks. I just got a couple of things. I want to thank Layla for their presentation tonight and for their services that they offer to the community. Thank you to Sandra Messing for her time on the library board. It's much appreciated. Thank you for former Mayor Ziegler for stepping up and renewing his term on the tax abatement board. And just want to apologize to like our 5 or 6 loyal viewers who are thinking that they're going to see us on TV tonight. We're having a problem with the live stream, so as soon as this is over, they're going to be able to load it and put it on the internet. But we apologize, and we'll have that taken care of for next time. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good night.